Playoffs on TNT. Brought to you by American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. By quality care service at your Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury dealerships. By Sprite. Who else could bring you this much NBA action? Obey your thirst. Sprite. And by 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
Welcome back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Bucks with the best home record of the Eastern Conference this regular season at 31-10, third best overall in the NBA. As we check out tonight's Gatorade starting lineups, both teams going with the same lineups they went in game one here on Sunday. Tracy McGrady and Bo Outlaw at the forwards. Andrew DeClercq, the center. The rookie Mike Miller and Darrell Armstrong in the backcourt for the Magic. The Bucks with Big Dog Robinson and Scott Williams, who had a terrific ball game. 19 points, 16 rebounds, 2 steals in 27 minutes. The center is Mark Pope. Started the other night, played only 14 minutes. And Ray Allen and Sam Cassell in the backcourt. We're joined on the sidelines by Cheryl Miller. Let's check in with Cheryl.
Thanks a lot, Marvin. Mike, if you remember in game one, Tim Thomas took a tough haul in the fourth quarter, and he strained his back. Well, over the last couple of days, he's received lots of treatment. He's seen the doctors, lots of massages. Even though he did not practice yesterday, today at shoot-around, he told me that the back is feeling much better. It's still a little bit sore, but he said he's going to be ready to play. Now, if early on Tim Thomas looks like he's struggling, and maybe if he's at a full strength, look for Darvin Ham to step in and get some quality minutes. Gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. Tim Thomas had just returned to the active roster after a 3-game stay on the injured list with a partially dislocated right shoulder. Darvin Ham, who last year in particular in the playoffs, an important man for George Karl, did not play at all here on Sunday night.
When you talk to George Karl, he really pays tribute to Ham as far as maybe being the one guy that held this whole thing together a year ago when they were trying to decide. They had some people here in tractor trailer that wasn't producing the way they wanted to, and George was trying to filter his way through players at the time, and Ham was the one guy that when he inserted is everything a coach wants, he said, on the floor.
The officials, Bob Delaney, Sean Corbin, and Hugh Evans, who will be retiring after the season after 28 years in the NBA, one of the premier officials in the history of this league.
Well, you know, we say when great players wind up leaving, they say it's a shame that the game has to lose that player. Well, that's a shame that that gentleman's going to retire because he is one of the best and just a great person.
Here's Allen over Armstrong. Yes, and it counts.
Orlando starting out with the same matchups as last game. They put Mike Miller on Cassell to affect his jump shots in the low post area, and they put Armstrong, who's much smaller than Ray Allen. Allen goes right into him and up over the top for the first one.
Ray Allen shot only 6 of 15 in game one. We mentioned right at the start, the big three did not shoot well. Scott Williams, 8 for 11. He had the hot hand, although at times you felt you're watching a tip drill out there. The Bucks just dominating, in particular on the offensive glass. Here's Tracy McGrady. Bo Outlaw able to keep it alive. And DeClercq is wide open. He's fouled by Pope.
But fouled by Pope. It took DeClercq a little bit too long to catch it and get up there at the rim so he could finish off the dunk attempt. But Darrell Armstrong facing the rim, had his eyes, the peripheral vision. He saw his big man in the lane, fired the pass through the middle.
Andrew DeClercq in his 6th season out of Florida. He's played for Golden State, Boston, Cleveland, prior to Orlando, a couple of years with the Cavaliers. We'd like to welcome those of you watching in Canada on Sportsnet. Game 2 of the best of 5 between the Magic and the Bucks as Andrew DeClercq gets the treatment from the crowd. The Bucks finished the regular season at 52-30, second seed in the East. One of the NBA's most improved teams, jumping from 42-40. And Nazar, this after a slow start. Remember, they were 3-9 at one point, and George Karl really went off on his team.
And George made some very basic, simple, direct points to his main guys as Mike Miller tees it up from behind the 3, and that's something that'll make Doc Rivers happy. They want Miller to be more assertive, look for shots more instead of waiting for them to just come to him. But going back to that, he felt that some of the guys.
Oh, a hard foul, and that's a flagrant foul. Now, this may be payback for the hit that Tracy McGrady took here on Sunday night.
Look, there's no question that Doc Rivers and his staff, after watching the films, made a point. Tracy McGrady was leveled by Scott Williams in game number 1. That foul right there was not even close to being as hard as the one that McGrady took. But you see DeClercq tries to play the ball. Allen's coming into him. I agree with Doc Rivers on this one. I don't think this one should be a flagrant foul.
There was also a technical foul charged to Ray Allen, so Darrell Armstrong will shoot the technical.
But I also agree with you insofar as, yes, that was a little bit of a payback right there. They're sending a message to big people up front that they're going to be more physical, Orlando, not going to let the Bucks beat them up on the glass like they did in game 1.
Tracy McGrady, Orlando's marquee player, hit the deck Sunday after he was walloped by Scott Williams. And I know there are a lot of folks in the Orlando area who were upset. They felt the only response came from the officials who called Scott Williams for the flagrant foul. There was no reaction from McGrady's teammates.
You know, this team is so young, and the playoffs it's such a new thing for so many of them. I'm not sure that many of them knew how to react to that situation, as opposed to two veteran teams that would have been in each other's faces at that time. It's just something that you have to do this time of the year.
McGrady made the point and was quoted in the Orlando paper that perhaps it's in the Magic's best interest to strike the first blow to set a no-nonsense tone for the game. Well, they have gone out and done just that. Loose ball foul, says Hugh Evans. And the call against the Magic. Of course, if you get caught up in payback, it usually doesn't work out. So I would think Doc Rivers is saying, hey, now we move ahead. We made the statement. Now let's play basketball.
Yeah, that's behind him now. Doc, I think, is comfortable with the fact that the flagrant foul was called. The message was sent, and now you must play the remainder of this basketball game.
Well, they changed that foul call. It's on Scott Williams of the Bucks. So the Magic back in possession. Here's Miller. Had nowhere to go and was fouled as Allen and Pope converged. And the foul on Pope, his second.
There you see it right there. There's a much more aggressive Mike Miller taking the ball, putting it on the floor, trying to make something happen, forcing the action. Look, this guy has a great stroke. He's a terrific scorer. And for the Magic to win, someone else has to put points on the board besides just Tracy McGrady. The guy is Mike Miller.
Mike Miller only 3 for 10, 9 points, and in game 1 never did get into the offense. So Orlando with a 6-5 lead, a minute and a half gone by here in this opening quarter, and things a bit tested. Here's Sam Cassell, Scott Williams, Robinson able to keep it alive.
But Glenn Robinson is not known for being a great rebounder, yet in game 1 he comes up with 12 rebounds.
Holding foul against the Magic. Orlando during the regular season, foul on Miller, finished at 43 and 39 for the number 7 seed. A solid year when you consider they lost All-Star Grant Hill, and when you consider how young they are. In fact, only D. Brown and Monty Williams have appeared in more than 10 playoff games. Allen tried to go behind the back, but DeClercq came over to cut off that move. The Bucks swing it. Cassell for 3 as he's run into and fouled by Miller. So Sam Cassell will go to the line to shoot 3.
Cassell's a smart veteran player. He knew he had the youngster Miller running out hard out of the challenger shot. So any bit of contact, Sam was going to the floor.
Mike Miller picks up his second. Sam Cassell, one of several Milwaukee Buck players with quite a bit of playoff experience going back to his days as a member of the Houston Rockets, 2-time championship clubs. Cassell only 5 of 18 the other night, 16 points, 8 assists.
Well, that's why Doc Rivers put Mike Miller on to try and affect his shot. Cassell likes to go down into the low post areas. Darrell Armstrong tries to get himself going in transition. So obviously the 6'7", 6'8" Miller did bother him in game number 1.
Oh, Scott Williams getting ahead of the field. And couldn't believe there was There's no foul call. Cassell off the steal. Williams chasing it down. Can he save it? No. And Scott lands in the crowd some 3 rows back, and then here's it from this capacity crowd.
The big people from Milwaukee have made a point to try and sneak out, run out on the big people from Orlando. Williams is trying to just get back into the action at one end. Suddenly he's back at the offensive end trying to save it, potentially score it.
Bucks 10, Magic 6. McGrady being played now by Pope. Allen on the intercept. Offensive foul. Robinson trying to set the pick, call for the foul.
Think how many people, Marv, we've seen jump in the air to make a pass so far in the early going. It's the excitement of the game. And when they're up in the air, they get stuck. We've seen interceptions, we've seen offensive fouls, and we've seen some bad shots when you leave your feet too early. Back and take a look a few moments ago at the flagrant foul that was called as the clerk came over to challenge a shot by Ray Allen, and then the clerk's hands wind up pulling Ray Allen down. Allen jumps up, he receives a technical. The clerk, the flagrant foul call.
Three minutes gone by in the first quarter, and the Bucks with a 10-6 lead. Outlaw able to go glass. Oh, Outlaw cuts into a 2-point Milwaukee lead. I mentioned the Orlando Magic trying to set the tone in the early going, coming off the shot that Tracy McGrady took in game one. Well, these two head coaches have been going at each other verbally. George Karl and Doc Rivers. Nice move by Outlaw. And rebounded by Williams. Verbal barbs exchanged the last couple of days. George Karl saying, hey, why aren't the Orlando Magic staying in the city of Milwaukee? Doc Rivers has the team staying in Chicago in the days between games 1 and 2. Here's Cassell. On the offensive rebound. George Karl saying, hey, next time we go to Orlando, maybe we'll stay in Miami. But there has been a hotel availability problem in this area. Outlaw, nice move, goes to the left hand. And that's the reason that the Magic did not stay in Milwaukee. George Karl saying, hey, this is terrible because you know, you lose all the playoff flavor when the visiting team does not stay in the city. Scott Williams with a hand in his face, able to hit. Actually, our staff has suggested that you would get a room in Chicago just coming for the game.
That's not right at all. You know the staff doesn't mean that. As Dee Brown tees it up, and Dee Brown's one of those guys who can hit 3 or 4 in a row to get it going for Doc Rivers and the Magic. We're going back to the issue as Cassell pulls up. We've seen so many transition shots for Milwaukee in the early going, and another offensive rebound for Milwaukee.
And Cassell is fouled by McGrady.
We're going back to the issue about the Magic going down to Chicago to stay. Because the hotels were sold out, Doc Rivers really didn't want to go down there. He wanted to stay in town. He said once they got down there, it was great. They practiced at Moody Bible, which is the place that the NBA holds its pre-draft camp every year. They had good practices. He said it was great for the players to bond with each other, dinner at night together, and just the time they spent, and to be able to walk the streets and not have to hear the local people about loss number 1, he feels wound up being very good for him.
Doc Rivers grew up just outside Chicago, played his college basketball here in Milwaukee at Marquette University, and followed the Bucks as a youngster at the old Mecca. Here's McGrady coming up short. And back comes Cassell. He has Pope running the floor, but Cassell did not see him. Scott Williams Showing a lot of confidence with an outside shot. Cassell with the good hustle, but knocked it out of bounds.
Think about Orlando's last 3 or 4 possessions. It's low post, low post, low post. We didn't see that many consecutive low post possessions for them in game number 1 for the whole game. They're concentrating on getting the ball down low, establish an inside game, then kick it back out.
Darryl Armstrong. Nice finger roll by Darryl's been playing hurt, stomach problem, pulled groin. Has bothered him the last 6 weeks. He had played in a team record 206 straight games. He was forced to sit out a couple of weeks ago. And the foul is called on Armstrong. That is his second. Troy Hudson off the bench. He'll come on for Armstrong, who is unhappy that he has to sit down. And Ray Allen, one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA, will shoot 2. So the Bucks now lead 17-12. Good start here for Milwaukee in contrast to Sunday night. They missed their first 8 shots from the field. In fact, you talk to the Bucks, they felt that, well, they won game 1, but it was not their A game that they had going.
No, those 3 main guys shot only 26% during that first quarter, and that's very unusual for that group.
Outlaw going at Williams. A low percentage backdoor pass, but the clerk was able to recover.
You saw a little defensive switch that time. Scott Williams wound up taking Outlaw on the low post rather than Glenn Robinson.
And Hudson deflects out that pass thrown by Cassell. John Amici will check in for the first time for Orlando, replacing Andrew DeClerc.
John Amici just 1 for 4 during his 14 minutes of game number 1, and he's a guy that Doc Rivers counted on all year for low post scoring, get to the foul line, put points on the board. Amici basically nullified in game 1.
Herman Johnson has replaced Mark Pope off the steal. Tracy McGrady quiet here at the start. Hudson able to play that carom. Now Amici going at Johnson. Bad shot by Amici.
And that's the same thing that happened in game 1. Johnson's just too long, too big for Amici. Amici doesn't get off the ground very well as Ray Allen gets up behind the 3-point line for an attempt. But long players that are active and can jump cause John Amici a problem because he can't elevate above him.
Dee Brown fires the 3. Orlando, usually a very good 3-point shooting team. Get the idea, Tracy McGrady is looking to get everyone else involved. He's attempted only 2 shots here at the start.
The other thing, we're seeing quicker shots, I think, than Doc Rivers would really like. Oh, nice shot by Outlaw, keeping his dribble alive, watching the defense split in the back line, taking it right down the middle.
Bo Outlaw with his 3rd bucket has 6 points. And the Bucks now lead 18-16, just under 5 remaining in the first.
Nice when you have a guy who's 6'10", 6'11", that can dribble at the length of the court and make that kind of decision with the ball.
Robinson. McGrady got a piece of it. Off the save. Allen with the jumper. Nice pass. Brown for Outlaw. Bo Outlaw has been the offense for the Bucks, or rather for the Magic here in the first quarter.
That's the selective running that Doc Rivers would like to see. The fast break numbers were there. They took advantage of it, got an easy basket out of it.
The game is tied at 18. Cassell. Bucks up by 2.
That 14, 12-foot jump shot for Sam Cassell is like a layup. When he gets going, he'll make that shot 9 out of 10 times. You've got to get him out of his comfort zone, his comfort area, to make him shoot the ball.
7 points apiece for Cassell and Allen. Hudson with the opening. Troy Hudson taking it to the rim, and the game is tied at 20. Here comes Cassell. And that shot is waved off, will not count. Timeout taken by George Karl. So it's the Bucks and Magic tied at 20 with 3:38 remaining in the first. Well, it's a rugged start here in terms of physical play for both clubs. And it all dates back to what took place here in game 1 on Sunday night.
The longer you stay in the playoffs, the more physical it becomes. Scott Williams leveling McGrady for a flagrant, and then Garrity coming back on Johnson, actually trying to tear his head off. Tonight, here's a payback early on. Clark sending a message to Ray Allen. Allen, by jumping up and stepping forward, receives a technical foul from the officials. So Doc Rivers said that his team has a chance. They've got to be more physical. He didn't say dirty, just more physical.
The game is tied at 20. Lindsey Hunter has checked in for the first time, coming off an 0 for 7 the other night. Nice touch by Big Dog Robinson, and the Bucks now lead by 2. Robinson with his first field goal. Here's Hudson. Lindsey Hunter. Tim Thomas had just checked in. Nice ball fake. Thomas takes it to the rim. Tim Thomas bothered by that strained lower back, as Cheryl Miller detailed right at the start, forced out of the fourth quarter in game 1, and just have returned to the active roster, recovering from that partially dislocated right shoulder.
Ball goes back to the Magic on the baseline as Lindsey Hunter came back, doubled down on Outlaw, almost tied him up for the jump ball, but then knocked it out of bounds.
McGrady, Amici, and Outlaw up front with Brown and Hudson in the backcourt for Orlando. Hudson lost it. That's the downside of Troy Hudson. He was in the starting lineup for a spell with Armstrong out. And that well out of the range of Bo Outlaw.
You don't see Bo Outlaw taking too many of those shots during the game.
Hunter's pass not handled by Johnson. It's a 3-on-1. Outlaw. Oh, nice setup from McGrady.
First, Outlaw had to control it and catch it, which was a tough thing to do. When he finally found the handle, he was able to get it up on the glass.
Oh, Outlaw sparking the Magic offense. He has 10 points. Bucks up by 2. Here's Thomas for 3. And another 24 for Milwaukee. Allen putting the move on Hudson.
We're back to game 1 because of second chance opportunities. Milwaukee scored 25 points on second chance opportunities. There's another 2 for him here tonight.
Outlaw posting on Thomas. Hunter over to help. Hudson passed on the 3 and then came up short on the 2. The ball back to the Bucks. The Bucks 52-30 during the regular season. They won the Central Division title for the first time since 1986. They had won it 6 straight times under Don Nelson. And prior to George Karl's arrival here in Milwaukee, the Bucks had gone 7 straight years without making the playoffs. They're now in the playoffs for the 3rd straight season. Traveling violation on Robinson.
There were 2 or 3 plays in game 1 that Glenn Robinson really doesn't get to look at very often from defensive players, and that was because of Tracy McGrady playing him. McGrady got a piece of or changed a couple of Robinson's shots that really had his eyes wide open. Tracy McGrady, in time, could be one of the great defenders in the NBA. He has great anticipation, real good understanding of what's trying to take place out there, and because of the athleticism, he covers so much ground, not bad at the offensive end either.
He has amazing poise for a 21-year-old who has made the jump straight from high school. Thomas with the step. Strong move by Thomas, who was looking for a foul call.
You know, as a coach, you look at your scattering reports, and there's a guy on certain teams every year that you say, this guy always lights us up. Well, Orlando says that about Thomas.
And McGrady beginning to heat up. That's his second field goal. He's 2 for 4 from the field. He's come out in very low-key fashion here this evening after 34 shot attempts in game 1. Allen for 3. So the Bucks now lead 31-26 as we come up on a half minute remaining in this first quarter. Allen has 10 points. McGrady splitting his way through. Rebounded by Johnson. There's Allen, met by Hudson.
George Karl almost ran out on the floor to stop that fast break. He looked at the shot clock. He wanted one last shot to end the quarter.
Final seconds of this first quarter. Allen is fouled with 3 8/10 seconds to go in the first. Foul committed by Hudson.
Doc Rivers has been trying to inject this high energy level in his team tonight. He has been all over the officials. It wouldn't surprise me to see Rivers pick up an early technical foul because he's trying to establish a tone for his team tonight to make them understand how important it is and just how hard they have to play here to try and get a win.
The Bucks are now 11 for 11 at the line. A reminder coming up next here on TNT. It's the Phoenix Suns and the Sacramento Kings, game 2 of our doubleheader. Suns pulling the surprise, winning game 1. So similar to what took place last night with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Indiana Pacers, a desperation game for Philly. That's the story for the Kings tonight. After 1 here in Milwaukee. It's the Bucks 33 and the Magic 26. We're back at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee. Right at the start, we're talking about the +17 advantage that the Bucks had against the Magic in game 1. How about tonight? First quarter, Milwaukee 18-6 edge off the board.
And who was the leading rebounder? The guy who played only 6 minutes. Mark Pope had 5 rebounds to lead the Milwaukee Bucks, again crushing, the Orlando Magic. And during the regular season, the Magic were really higher rebounding team than the Bucks. They were 11th in the league. The Bucks 15th in the league.
Setting it up for Thomas as this second quarter gets underway. Last touch by Michael Doliak, who is on the floor for the first time. Played only 5 minutes in game 1. He's been bothered by a sprained left ankle. Missed the final 4 games of the season. Doc Rivers saying we will see more of Doliak tonight.
And perhaps more of Don Reed. 2 physical guys that can perhaps help him on the glass against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mason Caffey has checked in for the Bucks. Here's Caffey. Another one-time Chicago goal. Nice move, able to extend over Doliak.
Yeah, some quickness and some bounce. He's tough for big guys to guard because he puts on the floor, and he is so fast. I'll tell you one other thing, Marv. You see a big difference in this game. The number of points scored. At the end of the first quarter in game 1, it was 22-21. Here we see 33-26 as the foul takes place. Inadvertent foul, but still a foul. So we have 33 points versus 26. The first game was 22-21. Last night, we saw Philly and Indiana. Game 1, that wound up 79-78 at the end of that first quarter. At the end of the first half, both teams were in the mid-50s. So game number 2 seems to be a little bit more of an offensive game for teams in the playoffs right now.
That first half last night in Philadelphia was a classic. McGrady had the foot on the line. It's a 2, and the Bucks up by 7. A duel between Reggie Miller, who equaled his playoff career high with 41. Allen Iverson, 45 points to lead the Sixers. That series tied at 1.
It's a shame Reggie didn't shoot it a little better in the first half. He scored 13 for 15 from the floor.
McGrady now played by Thomas. Shot clock at 5. So McGrady checked the clock. Shoots the rainbow. Gathered in by Irvin Johnson.
That time, Tim Thomas did a good job of changing his shot, making him fade because he has size to play McGrady.
Bucks only 10 of 24 from the field in that first quarter, with a lot of second chances. Caffey off the spin, uncontested.
George Karl said that Caffey may be the difference in the playoffs, depending how far they go. He feels that he is playing his best basketball. He's feeling real good. And you can see his bounce. He's got a lively bounce to him. He's very positive in his approach right now.
Caffey, a member of the Bulls championship teams, 96 and 97. McGrady trying to extend. Here comes Allen. Thomas slow to get up, remaining in the backcourt. Thomas indicating he's all right. Thomas up front with Johnson and Caffey, Allen and Hunter in the backcourt. Here's Thomas off the spin. What a move. hanging, getting off the shot, drawing the foul.
Thomas and McGrady are very similar. They're both players with size that have the extraordinary ability to handle the ball, put it on the floor, and make shots from the perimeter. We see Tim Thomas there drawing the foul on his pullback move off the dribble.
Last season, a breakout year for Tim Thomas. He averaged just under 12 per game, had that terrific playoff run. Averaged 16 points against Indiana. Originally a first-round pick of New Jersey, traded to the 76ers. And then on to the Bucks. Well, for the Bucks, rare misses at the line. They hit their first 12 free throws. 37-28, Milwaukee. McGrady. So Tracy McGrady more offensive-minded as this first half continues. Now 4 for 9 from the field. What a play by McGrady, stepping in front of Thomas and takes all the way.
You get lazy with Tracy McGrady around, you're in trouble. He's so long, he covers so much ground, he basically just ran through the pass in the passing lane, got a piece of it, caught up to the ball, easy two.
Anyone in particular who McGrady reminds you of? Think back to players in the past. The way he moves, offensive foul. Called on Caffey. Good play by both Goliak and Garrity. Moves with the same type of grace of Julius Erving. Not to put him in that category as a player.
You asked me the question.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to answer.
I was not getting an answer. I give up.
Oh, it's definitely about pride. It's been about pride since last year when they beat us the last game. You know, you don't want to go home for the summertime saying, man, they got a 13 or 12, game winning streak or 11 game winning streak, how many they ever. You want to make sure that you can snap that. And I think if we get this game tonight and we snap that winning streak, it's going to be a jungle in Orlando. And it ain't going to be the Predators, our arena team. It's going to be the Orlando Magic. So it's going to be on.
Well, the Bucks swept the season series 4-0 over the Magic overall. They have won the last 10 meetings against Orlando. Orlando's last win over Milwaukee, April of '99 in Orlando by the score of 95-83. Here's McGrady. Yes. Getting back to my comparison, you just look at
it reminds me of Julius Erving.
All right, thank you. We're talking movement. And the doctor
is for your next question.
Yes, the doctor, a senior vice president of the Orlando Magic. It's a good observation on your part, though. The comparison. It is Hunter for 3. Just did get it off prior to the 24-second buzzer. And the foul on Cassell, blocking Brown. And there he is, Julius Erving. He took your hat.
It's incognito.
Yes.
No one recognizes.
You were wearing that earlier. Bucks 37 and the Magic 34. And Tracy McGrady with all 8 points for the Magic in the second quarter. Here's Brown coming up with the air ball.
D. Brown is going to make that shot most times. Wide open, had his feet set. They did a nice job of penetrating the Bucks defense to throw it back out and get D. Brown off. He can be a streak three-point shooter for the Magic, and they need it.
D. Brown missed the first 75 games of the season on the injured list due to a torn left quadricep tendon. Mike Miller is getting set to check back in. Scott Williams coming up short, and the Bucks have gone cold.
D. Brown only got to play in 7 regular season games. He shot 37% from the three-point line. He was injured the day before the regular season was supposed to begin, and he sat out basically the whole year.
Foul, a hack on Thomas, trying to slap the ball away.
Move your feet, try and stay in front, and then try to get the ball before it goes up. From that angle right there, it looks like he got a lot of ball.
13th foul on Milwaukee, and Tracy McGrady at the line.
Now, the call may not have been on the swipe. The call may have been on the opposite hand, resting on the hip, guiding the player. Remember, once the player puts it on the floor, he's facing the basket, going to it. You can't hand check him this year. Next year, there will be a little bit different interpretation of the rules. They'll allow what they call incidental contact. They won't call them as close. There won't be any of those forearm bars that they used to use a couple years ago to hold players up. But you won't be allowed incidental contact, touches, let's say.
And led by Tracy McGrady, Orlando is now within 1. The Bucks have led by as many as 7. 8-0 run for the Magic. Quick release shot by Hunter, who was 0 for 7 the other night, 0 for 6 from downtown. Here's McGrady. Yes. Tracy McGrady putting on a performance in the second quarter. He has scored, can you believe, the last 16 points now for Orlando. Here's Cassell. Yes. And the Bucks recapture the lead, up by 1.
Well, you mentioned in the open that it took McGrady 34 shots to get his 33 points in game number 1, but who else is going to score for him? You got to give him the ball. You have to hope he has enough gas left in his tank at the end.
McGrady again. Orlando up by 1. Coming up on 6 minutes to go in the half. Cassell is fouled, doubled by Miller and Doliak. And McGrady has hit his last 5 shots from the field. 18 points in all.
We've played basically 18 minutes of basketball. He has been on the floor 18 minutes. And if you're Doc Rivers, when you give him a break, you don't give him a break.
He has scored the Magic's last 18 points. We're looking at an 18-0 run by McGrady that goes back to late first quarter. This on top of what we saw last night from Reggie Miller and Allen Iverson.
You don't think they'll give it to him again, do you?
No. Now being guarded by Robinson. McGrady. Yes! He has scored the last 20 points for the Magic, and they lead by 1.
He told me prior to the game he enjoys when you say yes. So he's put 20 in a row up so he can hear you say yes.
That's very, very well done. And Tracy's done it from all angles. Scott Williams. Scott had the magnificent game the other night. 19 points, 16 rebounds. Saving Milwaukee on a bad night for the big 3. Here's the double, and Hunter knocks it away. Recovered by Miller, stepping over Hunter to take the shot.
It's like, excuse me, let me just step over, shoot this 3.
McGrady wants the ball, but they're working it at the other side. The other guys apparently want to get into the act.
Well, the other guys see the ball goes in every time you shoot it. They're just getting it up there now.
Oh, Garrity with the block. Caffey recovers, and Robinson not able to hang on. Timeout taken. And for the second consecutive night, we are seeing one of the spectacular performances in the history of the NBA playoffs being put on by Tracy McGrady. Milwaukee, it has been the Tracy McGrady show here in the second quarter. Tracy, who made the jump directly from Mount Zion Christian Academy High School in Durham, North Carolina, first-round draft pick. Originally by the Toronto Raptors. 7 of 9 from the field this quarter. Overall 9 for 14, and he scored the last 20 points for the Magic.
Well, he does it from the outside. He takes him down into the low post area. A nice little jam step to get the defender back so he can elevate. And then not only does he get points from the offensive end, he's working extremely hard on the defensive end, which produces another 2 points. Not bad for a young man who will turn 22 years old in 1 month. Next month, Tracy McGrady turns 22. He has 20 straight points for the Magic.
Just under 5 remaining in the first half. Big Dog Robinson now defending on McGrady. Here's Miller. Well, that's the end of the Tracy McGrady streak. 20 consecutive as Mike Miller knocks it down, and Orlando leads by 1.
Doc Rivers coming out of the timeout using McGrady, the hot hand, as a decoy. They screen down on Miller after the dribble, pick and roll on the other side. Got 2 out of it.
A tip by Caffey. We are attempting to check the NBA record for most consecutive points. That's always a tough one to check. There is the feeling that Bernard King in that duel with Isaiah Thomas in that playoff game in Detroit may have had a similar streak. Bo Outlaw, or rather Tracy McGrady with 22 points now, and the Magic up by 1. And here's Lindsey Hunter from downtown.
Nice pickup by the Bucks, getting Lindsey Hunter here as a free agent. And remember, he serves two purposes. One, he can score points. He's a good three-point shooter as Miller misses the layup. Secondly, he's a good defender. When Carl needs a stopper in the backcourt, that's who he goes to, Lindsey Hunter.
Cassell backing his way on Armstrong. Sam Cassell with a very difficult shot.
He loves to operate down low against smaller guards. He elevates and gets the shot up over the top.
22nd timeout called by Doc Rivers. So the Bucks recapturing their stride after the onslaught by Tracy McGrady. Hits the Bucks 50 and the Magic 46. 3:12 left in the half. The Orlando Magic trying to get back into the series, looking to tie it at 1. Milwaukee seeking to make it 2-zip on Orlando. And tomorrow night, another doubleheader right here on TNT. The Raptors and the Knicks in Game 1. Can the Knicks continue to hold Vince Carter in check? That'll be followed by the Blazers and the Lakers. And then Friday night on TNT, it's the Hornets looking to close out the series against the Heat as coverage begins 8 o'clock Eastern time. The Charlotte Hornets have to be the surprise of this first round. Not only beating Miami, but just walloping them. First 2 games of the series. Foul is called. Holding foul.
Well, we saw McGrady that time dribble out of a double team and find an open teammate under the basket for a layup attempt. Think about this. Besides the 22 points that McGrady has scored, at the other end of the floor, he's guarding Glenn Robinson. Robinson now is 1 for 3 from the floor, 2 points in the game.
Don Reed had just checked in at the line. Off the foul by Cassell. Well, Tracy McGrady has scored 18 of his 22 here in the second quarter. The NBA playoff record for a single quarter. Eric Sleepy Floyd, 29 points. We were mentioning Sleepy's name.
A lot of airtime.
Yes. Off the pace by Reggie Miller and Allen Iverson last night. The all-time high for points in a quarter by a member of the Orlando Magic. 18 by Penny Hardaway, May of '97. And McGrady comes up short. McGrady has tied the record of his boyhood hero, Penny Hardaway. That's why McGrady wears number 1. Ray Allen, his finger roll, and the Bucks lead by 6. We're coming up on 2 minutes remaining in this first half. Marv Albert with the czar, Mike Fratello along with Cheryl Miller. Here's McGrady spinning his way, forced into a bad shot.
It's 2 times that Ray Allen has guarded him now. Twice he's forced shots.
Allen had nowhere to go and was able to get it to Robinson, who shoots the 3. Not a good shot by Robinson.
Well, Robinson figured, he says, I've got almost a backcourt. He said, I've got Mike Miller guarding me instead of McGrady. Let me get a shot up there quick. Maybe I'll get a look at the basket.
All right, here's Robinson going at Miller again, and a foul is called. There was a reach-in, 3 on Miller. Tim Thomas returning. Jason Caffey sits down. Irvin Johnson is back, so it's Johnson, Robinson, and Thomas up front with Allen and Cassell in the backcourt. Now Mike Miller will sit down. Mike Miller, a leading candidate for Rookie of the Year honors. Cassell. Out by Reed, although Johnson felt he was pushed by Reed.
It was more of a straight arm by Reed as opposed to a box out.
They double up on McGrady. Hudson. Shot clock down to 4. Hudson eluding Allen and hits.
That's the patience that Doc Rivers would like to see every time. Of course, you're not going to be able to run it down to 4 or 3 and get an open jumper like that, but he wants the team to take a little more patience once they don't have a break in running their half-court offense.
Nice pass, Robinson for Thomas to draw the foul. Quick release by Big Dog Robinson, finding Tim Thomas, who's shaken up. And Thomas to the line. Reed called for the foul.
That could have aggravated the back injury that Thomas had coming into this game tonight. Reed does a good job of not conceding the layup, goes after the ball to try and block it. He gets a lot of body and arm there. And right there, Thomas's back perhaps jarred a little bit.
Tim Thomas 0 for 2 at the line. The only 2 misses by the Bucks. They hit the previous 14. Well, coming up on the AT&T halftime report, Jerry Stackhouse, high-scoring member of the Detroit Pistons, will join Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley in the studio. They'll have first-half analysis from our game and then a look ahead of the second game right here on TNT between the Suns and the Kings. You know, Ernie's a Milwaukee native, grew up here in the Brew City.
It's amazing. You just don't stop with the players on the court. You go into such depth and detail about even on studio people.
Ernie mentioned it to me earlier. Foul on Cassell.
Milwaukee Bucks have taken 18 free throw attempts in the first half. Orlando Magic just 9 up to this point.
Lindsey Hunter getting set to check back in. Ernie's dad, Ernie Johnson Sr., relief pitcher for the old Milwaukee Braves. So Ernie spent the first 8 years of his life. Perhaps this is more information than you would like to know.
No,
you give me a bad look. Ernie is not going to appreciate it.
No, please, I want to know more.
That squeamish face that you show from time to time.
Darryl Armstrong making 1 out of 2. He's an 88% free throw shooter during the year.
And here's Allen shooting the 3. One hustle by Armstrong, although the crowd wanted to travel. Four-point lead for the Bucks. McGrady off the head fake. Shot clock still alive. Armstrong. And kept alive by Reed. Final seconds of the half.
Yeah, they couldn't. Doc Rivers takes a 20. They couldn't pull the first one out and run it because it didn't hit the rim. There was no reset. That one hit the rim. They get a reset. Now they can run it out for the last shot of the quarter. I think McGrady's performance, the fact that now you see Milwaukee starting to run a second player at him. Milwaukee, basically for the year, does not like to double team people. They play straight up. They feel they can score enough points that even if a player gets a huge number on a given night, most teams aren't going to have 2 or 3 guys that can put up huge numbers. But George Karl now, so impressed with McGrady, has started. Initially, it was a late double team, kind of a half-hearted one. Now they're starting to go at him early.
Tracy McGrady with 22 points. 18 coming here in the second quarter. He had a run of 20 straight for the Magic. It's 10 of 18 overall. Ray Allen's the high point man for the Bucks with 16. 8 and 6/10 seconds remaining in the half. Armstrong will inbound. Hudson checking the clock, down to 5. 3 seconds. 2. Hudson tipped home by Reed. It will count. Good effort by Don Reed to bring the Magic within 2.
Yeah, and Doc Rivers couldn't ask for anything better. Something to give his team to talk about at halftime, the way they've hung in there. They fought back. They're only 2 points down. A sensational performance by Tracy McGrady in the first half.
So at halftime here in Milwaukee, it's the Bucks 53 and the Magic 51. Here's Cheryl with Ray Allen.
Ray, so much was said about the big 3 struggling in game 1. It seemed like early on you hit the 3-point play. You made the tone. You really set the tone offensively in the first half.
Oh, yeah. I was kind of bothered by a couple of things that were said in the newspaper, and I want to come out and make sure that I made my presence felt.
What do you do defensively to slow down Tracy McGrady in the second half?
We just got to stay on him. Right now, he's in a jump shot rhythm. We got to make sure that we get in his face, make him take a tough jump shot.
All right, good luck in the second half. Let's go back to you, Marv.
Thank you, Cheryl. 16.6 rebounds, 3 assists for Allen. Cassell with 13 and McGrady with 22. It's halftime here in Milwaukee. The Bucks 53 and the Magic 51. Now to the AT&T halftime report. Let's go to Milwaukee's own Ernie Johnson.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of details of my life being shared by Marv and Mike there late in the half, which you really don't need to hear. It is the AT&T halftime report.
We don't hear it. We don't care.
I think I made that point sufficiently clear.
You look nice tonight too, Ernie.
Thank you very much. Every time you say that now, I appreciate it. This is Kenny. This is Charles, who was just killing my clothing last week. And this is our special guest for the evening, Jerry Stackhouse of the Detroit Pistons.
That looked like that move against Duke when you dunked it over there for the game winner almost.
You know, Jerry was the #2 scorer in the league this year, guys.
We know that.
You know, nobody took more shots this year than Jerry Stackhouse.
We didn't know that.
Nobody scored more points than Jerry Stackhouse.
Well, we knew that.
And he's a long-time enjoyer of our show, obviously. And he's been here before. Nice to see you,
He's got the powder blue linen on, Carolina blue.
Always come with the blue, baby.
Yes, yes.
At any rate, we are seeing a performance in the first half by Tracy McGrady, 20 points in a row at one stretch, Stack.
He's going to work. He's feeling it right now. I mean, he feels that nobody on the floor can guard him, and he's getting to his spots. I mean, he's tough to guard. His jump shot has really opened up his game. When
I think about scoring a lot of points in a row or having a huge quarter, you can't help but think back to 1994 and Charles Barkley playing for the Phoenix Suns, going up against the Golden State
Warriors. I remember that.
27 points in one quarter, Chuck.
Oh, that's only because they couldn't guard me.
Obviously.
Hey, look at us. Chris Gatlin guarded me.
Chris Mullin was right there, but not on you.
Didn't box me out. Oh, that guy's too little right there.
Oh, man alive.
I want to get the series over, Ernie. We were up 2-0. I needed a week to rest before we got to the next series.
I mean, but seriously, tell me, when you're going through a run like that, you don't want the quarter to end, correct?
Well, you know what's the thing that was amazing? After the first quarter, I really didn't score that much. I think you said I had 27 the first quarter, and I only scored like 8 or 9 points the rest of the quarter. So after the first quarter, I was just feeling it.
Sounds like
I don't know what I did the night before, but God, it must have been fun.
Sounds like a stamina problem to me. Meantime, the Milwaukee Bucks here last night. If you were with us, Cheryl Miller was talking to Scott Williams. They were talking about how about a nickname for these guys, Scott Williams and Jason Caffey and Irvin Johnson, for the job they're doing. And Kenny, the dean of nicknames in the NBA, has obliged it within 24 hours.
It came to me like right before I came out, but these nicknames you can't kind of plan. But if the big three are the, Allen, Cassell, and Robinson, they're the Bucks. These guys are the loose change. You know, what they do is they get loose balls.
I love that.
They get loose plays, and you can't, you can't really put a price tag on what they can do for you, because he hits the jump shot from the outside. And then Irvin Johnson, he plays great defense. These are the things that are loose and you don't really get in a stat sheet. And then here, Jason Caffey, he can take the ball to the basket. Another guy comes in with a great deal of energy. These are my loose change. And Ernie, you know what? You can't go to the store and buy an Eastern Conference championship without going in your pockets to get that last bit of loose change.
You know, it's amazing when a couple guys have a lucky game like they did last game, they get nicknames now.
It's not just one. I thought you had to be Scott, Irvin, it's Jason Caffey, Mark
I said a couple guys.
They're all in there.
Luck up and have a good game,
loose
and now
change,
all they loose change.
And this guy, by the way, the graduate, as dubbed by Kenny Smith. When we come back, we're going to look ahead to our TNT nightcap as Chris Webber and the Kings try to salvage a home court split with the Suns. Any nicknames to come?
No, we're done.
Thank you very much.
The AT&T Halftime Report is brought to you by AT&T, proud sponsor of the...
This series is not one game. Each individual needs to come back prepared to play. I expect for us to play better. I expect to win the series and prepare to go to war.
In game one of that series, though, it was the Sacramento Kings falling at home 86-83 to the Phoenix Suns. Take a look at game two here. How do you see things shaking out in that one, Stack?
I think Sacramento is definitely going to come out strong. They want to try to even it out. But they've already lost the advantage. I mean, they got to go to Phoenix and really pick up some slack, because they're behind now.
If they lose this game, they're down 0-2 with 2 games at home, and it's the same situation Miami's in. Only one team has come back after losing the first 2 games at home to win a best-of-5, and it was your bunch in 1993 because you lose 2 games at home to the Lakers. What was happening there that made you guys turn this thing around, and how did you pull it off, Charles?
Well, I think the first thing, the Lakers jumped on us at game 1. It was the first round of the playoffs, obviously, and just got off to a good start. Kevin Johnson missed the first couple games, and once we got started, you got to win game 3. And that's a lot more simple. Oh, you like that, didn't you?
Oh, it's like Hubie Brown making that behind the back pass.
But see, the pressure, once you win that first game, the pressure switched back to the home team. Because if you got them down, you got to finish them off. And when they didn't finish them off in game 3, the pressure automatically in game 4 switched back to them.
I was reading something in the paper that that Frankie, every now and then, Frankie Johnson and Kevin Johnson chose up sides at a practice when you guys are down 0-2, and you guys just played at practice. You recall that?
No, I try not to think about Frank Johnson if I don't have to.
I knew I shouldn't have brought that up unless I knew the answer. Jet,
well,
take a look
think
at
if you
game
look
2.
at but you look at their series, and we said Miami and Charlotte. Let's go there.
Yeah.
And the way Miami lost those games, you could see that they have no answers for what Charlotte is doing. There's very few answers that you could say, well, we can go to this and then we can be successful. When they were losing those 2 games, there were spurts in that game in that series where you say, you know what, this really works against the Lakers. It's just not working all the time. Can we get this going? And that's what I think the Suns really have to look at.
But I think not having Tim Hardaway now gives Miami a chance. Now they know he's not going to play for the rest of the series. They can go forward now.
And how surprised are you to see what happened down there? Here's Miami, one of the best defensive teams in the league, losing by 26 twice and giving up over 100 each time.
Well, they struggle to score. I mean, all season they've been a team that struggled to score. It's always been that their defense was their staple. But, you know, they can't stop Charlotte. Charlotte's getting up and down, playing up-tempo style, so they're going to be tough to beat.
That series resumes, by the way, on Friday night on TNT. Back to put the wraps on the AT&T halftime report in just a second. The game you're watching tonight, 53-51. The Bucks at home trying to take a 2-zip lead. Good game, folks.
Back at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee, Marv Albert with his arm, Mike Fratello along with Cheryl Miller. Bucks with a 2-point lead on the Magic. Now, last night in Philadelphia, we saw some sensational performances by Reggie Miller and Allen Iverson. But what a stirring 24 minutes of basketball for Tracy McGrady. 22 points for the half, played the entire first half, 10 of 18 overall, and at one stretch hit 20 consecutive points for the Magic.
With the exception of those last 2 shots, you can't really say that he was forcing shots, whether it's from the outside, going down low with jump hooks. He just got into that rhythm, into that groove, and no matter what he shot up there, it seemed to go in. Not only did he work hard at the offensive end, but then he chipped in a little bit at the defensive end by picking off one, laying it up for 2, and at the same time going back and holding Glenn Robinson to 1 for 5 shooting, just 2 points for Robinson. So defensively, he was a major factor as well. He only played 24 minutes in that first half.
10 of 18 overall. At one point hit 7 straight. Actually got off to a slow start, hitting 3 of his first 8, and then came on. Moments ago, Cheryl talked with Orlando head coach Doc Rivers.
Doctor said you were a little disappointed after game 1 that the team didn't play with that physical toughness. They brought that intensity tonight.
Yeah, it's nice to see. You know, I told them at halftime, welcome to the playoffs, because it looks like they just joined in, and we need that. It's a good experience for us, and that's what we have to do. Still gave up 10 offensive rebounds, but turned the ball over only twice with no points. That's key for us. I think tempo is still the key to the game for us. We had one stretch where we pushed it up a little too fast. They got out on the break, got some threes. We have to make sure they're walking the ball up the floor.
All right, Doug, good luck in the second half. Let's go back to you, Morris.
All right, Cheryl. Milwaukee forces 15.5 turnovers per game. Orlando with just 2 in the first half. Robinson not able to hit. Williams trying to put it down on the stuff. And the Orlando Magic opening up with the backcourt of Darrell Armstrong and Mike Miller. Tracy McGrady up front with Andrew DeClerc and Bo Outlaw. Fast start for Outlaw. He had 10 points in that first half. Here's McGrady backing his way on Allen, then gets it over to Outlaw, who's fouled, hacked by Scott Williams.
Orlando went to a 2-3 side pick and roll. Milwaukee switched it. As a result, Allen winds up guarding McGrady, and that seemed to be the best defender against McGrady in the first half when Milwaukee finally went to that matchup. McGrady, though, looking over the defense, finds Outlaw underneath.
Outlaw only a 57% free throw shooter. Looking at the first half box score, once again, Milwaukee's big three did not shoot well. That was the case in game one.
Just 8 for 22 from the floor, but because of the big half that Allen and Cassell had, even though Robinson only chipped in with 2, they are really right on target with what they normally average. They normally chip in with 62 points a game. For the Bucks, they're at 31 in the first half.
And the Bucks shot 42% of that first half. Orlando at 48%. Bucks with the decisive edge off the board. Robinson from downtown. 56, Orlando 52. Again, Outlaw able to get inside. So Bo is 6 of 8. He has 13 points.
Doc Rivers, obviously, in the days off, made Bo Outlaw understand just how important a presence he was going to be for this team. They can go to him down low on a number of mismatches. He's big enough and strong enough to score down there.
Holding foul on de Klerk. I like Doc telling Cheryl it was welcome to the playoffs. He finally felt that his team was playing playoff-type basketball.
He could see a difference, that they were into this thing, that they weren't just there as spectators. And in the first game, he felt that McGrady wanted to win the game, and then his teammates wanted to watch him win the game rather than partake in it and be part of the whole thing.
Here's Scott Williams. Once again showing the outside touch. He has 8 points. The Bucks lead by 4. Orlando went 43 and 39 of the regular season, the number 7 seed, and did a good job when you consider they lost Grant Hill for the season. They did finish the regular season as once again the Bucks strike from downtown. Ray Allen now has 19. The Magic finished the regular season. They're losing 6 of the last 10 and 3 of the last 4. Not the way you want to go into the playoffs.
There's certain players, when they bring the ball down the floor in the middle of transition, you've got to honor their jump shot. They like to go up for it. Bo Outlaw inside once again. One of those players, John Stockton in Utah. As he comes down in that slow, fast break, he loves to elevate in the middle of the floor. Ray Allen's another one.
Here's Williams with a step-back jumper, kept alive by Cassell. Allen somehow got to the basketball and draws the foul.
Everybody trying to get a little piece of the action on the glass for Milwaukee. They know that if they work hard in the first game, it paid dividends with 25 second chance points or opportunities. Here, de Klerk trying to tie up Ray Allen. The foul is called.
Ray, his 8th rebound, along with 19 points. Foul on Armstrong. That's his 3rd. Allen off the fake, lost it. Here's Armstrong making contact with Pope. Miller lost the ball. And Allen tips it to himself. Here's Allen putting the move on Outlaw and crunched by de Klerk. Crowd looking for a flagrant.
De Klerk is trying to get a block shot call. The crowd wants the flagrant foul call. It's almost exactly the same play, same situation as during the first half when Allen drove left to the baseline and de Klerk made the rotation and tried to stop the shot attempt.
Ray Allen 7 of 7 at the line, an 89% free throw shooter.
You have a way of doing that. Last night you did that to Reggie Miller.
Right.
You said it, and Reggie Miller missed a couple free throws last night.
Me.
Why don't you just leave him alone?
I apologize to Ray and the family. I understand the entire family is here in Milwaukee. I didn't say anything. That is highly unusual. Bucks 61, the Magic 56. McGrady over Pope. Mark Pope ends up defending on Tracy McGrady. That was not the thought of George Karl. So McGrady with his first field goal of this third quarter. He has 24. His playoff career high established Sunday night when he scored 33. Here's Allen. And the tip by Pope. Mark Pope has been what could be considered a cosmetic starter. Usually Irvin Johnson comes on quickly. He's getting more time tonight than he did Sunday night. McGrady again. A 3 for Tracy. He has 27, and the Magic within 2. Robinson on a quick release. Rebounded by DeClerc and deflected out of bounds by Allen. Doc Rivers staying with the backcourt of Armstrong and Miller, though McGrady will swing to the guard position. McGrady, Outlaw, Clark up front. And again, it's Pope reaching out against McGrady. So George Karl looking to get the bigger body on McGrady, who just steps back and fires. Rebounded by Williams. Sam Cassell lost the shoe. And he's upset. He's trying to get a timeout called, and apparently now the timeout taken with 7:24 remaining. In the third, it's the Bucks up by 2.
In game number 1, the Bucks had 23 offensive rebounds. They produced 25 second chance points. Let's look at why it's happening. They are a great help defensive team. Ray Allen starts to turn the corner. Whenever you see a teammate beaten off the dribble, your responsibility, we see Outlaw and DeClerc both see the basketball. You are supposed to make a rotation to try and stop the ball and help your teammate. But only one guy is supposed to rotate, not 2 men. At the same time, if you're away from the ball, you must cut back down off if your teammates rotate. You can see what happens with the Magic. 2 players rotate instead of just 1. As a result, now you've got 3 players on the ball, and then there's not enough players to block out on the weak side. Another second chance opportunity. So tonight, we have 12-2 advantage in favor of Milwaukee. Second chance point.
And the Bucks now up by 2. Robinson getting better looks here in the third quarter. 7 points for Robinson, who've been quiet. And the Bucks now lead 65-61. George Karl staying with the matchup. Mark Pope going up against Tracy McGrady. The hustling Pope coming up with a loose ball.
DeClerc was just a little late diving that time. That's how Ray Allen got a piece of it. And that led to a transition opportunity for Cassell, who hits the 2-pointer.
15 for Cassell. And the Bucks back up to a 6-point lead.
If you're Doc Rivers right now, you're thinking about a quick timeout. You do not want them to get on a run in this building.
McGrady putting the move on Pope and comes up short. Allen with the step. Outlaw breaks it up. Allen on the recovery, draws the foul. That's 4 on DeClerc.
Tracy McGrady does the right thing. He puts the ball on the floor, tries to draw contact to stop the momentum of the Bucks by going to the free throw line. But then an excellent defensive play by Robinson blocks the ball from behind. Allen taking it hard. They're flying right now. The crowd is into it. The Bucks are into it.
Ray Allen missed his previous 2 at the line, and the Bucks now lead by 7. They've led by as many as 9. George Karl staying with the longer, the rangy 6'10" Mark Pope on Tracy McGrady. And this crowd is pumped. Here's Miller working off the screen. Miller able to get to it, but stepped out. Mike Miller has not been able to get going. 2 of 6 from the field. And the other night, just 3 for 10, 9 points.
I would say if we see another score here by Milwaukee, Doc Rivers may call the timeout and kind of regroup, get the team back focused in once again. Forget about the mistakes. You got to score a couple of baskets.
The tip missed by Williams. Robinson is on it. And back comes Orlando. McGrady open for three. Yes. Tracy McGrady from downtown. He has 30 points. The Bucks up by 5.
It's a fine line. If Scott Williams tips in that follow dunk, it's a 10-point lead right now. Rivers probably has to take a timeout. Instead, the lead back to 5.
Cassell rejected and fouled by Doliak.
Cassell sees the opening, turns the corner on Miller, and now Mike Doliak trying to protect the front of the rim. Too much body, not enough elevation for Doliak.
Len Robinson was upset just a moment ago and was being restrained by his teammate, Mark Pope. He's now discussing it with the official, Bob Delaney. Well, coming up next here on TNT, the Suns and the Kings, Game 2 of our doubleheader at Game 1 of that series. Sean Marion did an excellent job against Peja Stojakovic. And the Kings trying to tie that series at 1 apiece.
Got a small forward who rebounds the way Sean Marion does. You look at the box scores night in, night out. He's got 10, 11 rebounds for Phoenix.
McGrady. And a foul called on Williams. Getting a piece of Troy Hudson, who had just come on. Meanwhile, Tracy McGrady in the midst of another streak. He has scored Orlando's last 8 points. At one stretch, he had scored 20 in a row for the Magic. Bucks with their second team foul. Magic already over the limit. And McGrady will throw in. Mark Pope defending on Tracy McGrady. Pope, a guy who was the 56th pick in a 58-man draft back in 1996. In his third season out of Kentucky on the Wildcats championship team. Outlaw lost it.
Outlaw trying to turn the corner and look opposite for a teammate spotting up, just losing control of the ball.
Cassell, yes. So the Bucks now lead 73-64. And now Doc Rivers wants to talk it over. The NBA championship banner of the Milwaukee Bucks coming up on the 30-year anniversary of Kareem and Oscar taking the title in 1970-71. Nice pass work. That's the big O, Oscar Robertson. And here is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. As the Bucks defeated, as Bobby Dandridge, Bucks defeating the old Baltimore Bullets to take the title. Coached by Larry Costello, they went 66-16. A smooth run through the playoffs, taking 12 of 14. Kareem, the MVP, averaged better than 31 a game. And for Oscar, averaged better than 19 per game with his career winding down. Prior to George Karl's arrival here in Milwaukee, this franchise went 7 straight seasons without making the playoffs. McGrady has been bothered by Pope now. And last touched by the Magic. They can find the basketball.
McGrady, rather than trying to go by Pope right now, is trying to get him off balance and then elevate for the jump shot, as opposed to trying to use that long, quick first step to go by Pope. So we have to credit Pope for doing a pretty good job on it here.
Tracy ending up beneath Darvin Ham on the Buck bench and was helped up by the combination of Ham and Jason Caffey. So the Bucks up by 9 points as they try to make it 2-0 in this best-of-5 series. Robinson with a step back. Look out, away from the ball. Scott Williams and Pat Gary both went down. Here's Doliak. Yes. Michael Doliak with his first field goal. Crowd looking for a foul at the other end. 7-point Buck lead, just under 4 remaining in the third. And Allen is fouled.
Let's go back to the last play. Watch Garrity and Scott Williams under the basket, the contact that takes place. This is after the play is now moving back towards the other end. Williams trying to hang on to the jersey. Garrity just trying to get free of him. Williams winds up in the front row.
And there's the man who was involved with Scott Williams, Pat Garrity. Ray Allen, 9 of 11 at the line. Scott Williams hears it from the crowd as he leaves. Mark Pope greeted by applause as he took a seat. Thomas and Caffey back on for the Bucks. Scott Williams with another strong performance. Eight points, 8 rebounds for Williams.
Hit the offensive boards, when you drive and slash to the basket, you get free throw opportunities, a chance to put extra points on the board. Remember, Magic are primarily a jump shooting team. That's why they've basically been doubled at the free throw line by Milwaukee, who's making a better effort to get close to the basket through hard work.
Would you say this is the worst possible first-round matchup for a team like Orlando going up against Milwaukee?
It's because of the styles of play. They play similar styles as Magic stay after and finally get one of those effort baskets that you need. They're offensive teams first, and they're building their defense. And the Bucks have turned into a pretty decent defensive team down the stretch of the season. Doc, in future years, will continue to build his team defense. But it's just that Milwaukee is better at this type of game than the Magic because they have better players and deeper bench.
Foul on Outlaw, his first. Saw some testy moments there between Big Dog, Glenn Robinson, and Bo Outlaw. Robinson is playing angry. Been upset. Tomorrow night, another doubleheader here on TNT. It's the Raptors and the Knicks from Madison Square Garden in New York, and the Blazers and the Lakers from Los Angeles. Friday night on TNT, the Hornets looking to close out their series against the Heat. Coverage beginning 8 o'clock Eastern time. Miami just trying to get back into it after being blown out the first couple of games at home by the Hornets. Shot clock is down to 6. Armstrong. And Hudson able to get to that rebound.
We saw Troy Hudson sneak in there along the baseline before and come up with a big offensive rebound.
Outlaw. Some confusion defensively by the Bucks.
And Tim Thomas just missed picking that pass off on the rotation. They trapped the ball in the pick and roll. Thomas anticipated and started to rotate across. Just missed it. Easy bucket for Outlaw.
Outlaw 8 for 10. He has 17 points. Allen to the crossover to set it up. Robinson. Yes.
That all came about because of the penetration of Allen. He got so deep into the lane that he pulled 2 Magic defenders. Couple passes out, wide open shot.
Bucks up by 8. Here's Garrity for 3. Pat Garrity, who was 4 of 6 from three-point land. On Sunday night, he shot 43% from downtown during the regular season among the NBA leaders. And they really missed Pat Garrity back from arthroscopic knee surgery. Nice setup for Jason Caffey. And the Bucks have an 80-73 advantage. Coming up on 1 minute left in the third. Caffey got a piece of it. Here's Armstrong. Darryl Armstrong with 6 points. 80-75 Milwaukee. Cassell racing down. Just under 1 minute remaining in the third. Sam Cassell with the fadeaway over Darryl Armstrong.
Comfort zone. He loves that area down there. You've got to disrupt him or put a bigger guy on.
Armstrong challenging Tim Thomas. So the Bucks lead 82-77. Orlando able to hang around despite the fact that Tracy McGrady was lifted by Doc Rivers, getting a rest after going most of the way. Down to 25 seconds remaining in the third.
got about a 3-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
Magic spreading it out. Outlaw sets the pick. Out of 2 on the 24. Garrity. Final seconds of the quarter. Oh, look out. Robinson slipped to the split. Apparently all right. And it's 3 quarters complete here at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee. The Bucks led by their backcourt of Ray Allen and Sam Cassell. 23 for Allen, 21 for Cassell. Tracy McGrady with 30 points on 13 of 25 for the Magic. We'll be right back. Back in Milwaukee, tonight's budget rent-a-car fast break. Look at the numbers, fast break points. Orlando with 18, Milwaukee with 9. Magic shooting 49%, and you can see that the Bucks have done it from the foul line and off the boards.
Let's go back to the end of the third period. Watch a little pick and roll action that Milwaukee's trying to run a 2-man game. Allen is trying to come over the top of the screen on a pick and roll. Decision for the defense. Should I go over the top? Should I go through? Or should I go underneath? What happens is when Garrity shows there's a collision, the 2 defensive men run into each other. Allen continues on and occupies another defensive guy. The resulting dunk takes play by Caffey under the basket.
The Bucks have led by as many as 9. They have a 5-point edge as this 4th quarter gets underway. Troy Hudson handling against Sam Cassell. Here's Pat Garrity coming up short. Hustle by Irvin Johnson. Lindsey Hunter is back. So Hunter and Cassell on the backcourt. Caffey, Johnson, and Thomas on the front line. Cassell over Hudson. And last touch by Outlaw. Cassell is now 6 for 16 from the field. You see Tracy McGrady getting a rest. One stretch. He had 20 straight points for Orlando. McGrady leading the way with 30, had 33 in game 1 on Sunday. That's his playoff career high. He opened up the game trying to get other people involved and then took over off the turnover. Here comes Armstrong. So Doc Rivers going with the backcourt of Armstrong and Hudson. He is Outlaw, Garrity, and Doliak up front. Doliak. Lindsey Hunter. Hunter and Cassell now at the guard. So Allen sitting down.
More on the floor right now as Sam Cassell tries to get back to that favorite spot down low to shoot it over the top of Troy Hudson.
Oh, that was mistimed by Doliak. Outlaw able to get to it.
I'm starting to say on the floor right now, who is going to score for Orlando? In transition, Garrity gets a look. That's one way they can score. But if it becomes a half-court game, really the only person on the floor now who can beat his guy off the dribble and create is Troy Hudson, because Armstrong, with the pulled groin, has been slowed somewhat. So that's the problem when you take McGrady out of the game.
Garrity 2 of 2 from downtown, and Orlando is within 2 points. Caffey working hard against Outlaw. Played him well. 2 minutes gone by in the 4th quarter. The Bucks 82 and the Magic 80. Marv Albert with Bizarre, Mike Fratello along with Cheryl Miller. Armstrong not able to tie it.
Armstrong told Bo Outlaw to get out of there, give him the side of the floor, clear it, because he felt he had Caffey against him. He could beat him off the dribble.
Now Thomas played by Garrity. Cassell set up with a post, was waved away. Thomas. And the Bucks not taking good shots.
Nice job of defense that time by the front line. Garrity did a decent job staying with the ball. Then he got a nice baseline rotation from his teammate.
Milwaukee 0 for 5 here at the start of the 4th quarter. And that's kicked out by Thomas.
Troy Hudson missed his opportunity. Came off the high screen, and he had the 17-foot jump shot. Instead, he got down there in traffic with the big people. Couldn't see anything.
Tracy McGrady checks back in, replacing Darrell Armstrong. And while McGrady sat, Orlando was +7. The score was 73-64. The Bucks had that 9-point lead, so the Magic doing a nice job with Tracy getting a respite. Here's Hudson wide open.
It's the same shot we just talked about. The high pick and roll when he comes off, but he's got that initial 17, 18-footer.
Lindsey Hunter for 3. He has been off.
See Garrity closing out on Thomas. They do not want Tim Thomas to shoot standstill jump shot. They're closing out on him, forcing him to put it down on the floor.
Hunter 1 for 6 tonight after the 0 for 7 in game 1. McGrady accelerates. And back comes Allen. He has Caffey. And Caffey is fouled hard by Outlaw.
Tracy McGrady did just what you're supposed to do. He's got Irvin Johnson playing him. He goes by him off the dribble and just misses a wide open layup at the other end of the floor. Fast break opportunity from the Bucks. Good defensive play to stop the break by Outlaw.
We're glad to be able to come in and win the first game to steal home court advantage. But, you know, it's been a tough year all year long playing against the Kings, and it's going to be a battle, you know, every game.
Rodney Rogers, key factor in that opening game victory over the Sacramento Kings, teaming up with Sean Marion. 21-10 for Marion. Also a solid defensive job against Peja Stojakovic. It's coming up next right here on TNT. Second of the doubleheader. Kevin Harlan, John Thompson, Danny Ainge will have the call.
Let's credit Scott Skiles. They went into a very, very difficult building, made a little change in the tempo of their game, and as a couple of their players said afterwards, it may have been ugly, but it was a win, and that's what they needed coming out of there. They did not want to run up and down with that crowd in Sacramento's building and score a lot of points.
Jason Caffey at the line. Let's check in with Cheryl.
Well, Marvin, Mike, out of that last time out, Doc said, look, guys, we're right where we want to be. At the offensive end, looked for them to run the pick and roll as much as possible. He looked at Tracy McGrady and said, every time you grab the ball, we want you driving hard to the basket. And the number one thing defensively, guys, we've got to rebound.
All right, thanks, Cheryl. 8.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Bucks now lead by 3 points. So McGrady is back. He's up front with Goliak. Garrity, Outlaw. Hudson is the point guard. McGrady met by Irvin Johnson shooting over him. And Tracy has cooled off considerably. McGrady has missed his last 4 shots. Milwaukee had been scoreless for nearly 5 minutes. And Lindsey Hunter breathing a sigh of relief as he finally connects from downtown. He was 0 for 6 from downtown the other night.
Got 2 guards in right now, Hunter and Allen, who both can stroke it from range. They're letting Allen do the penetrating, and then he's trying to find his teammates spotting up.
And Hudson had the ball knocked away. Last touch by the Bucks. Bucks lead by 6. They seek to make it a 2-0 lead in this best of 5 with game 3 coming up in Orlando Saturday night. Game 4, if necessary, in Orlando next Tuesday. Here's Garrity for 3. Yes, that's his 3rd from downtown.
Michael Doliak a little bit of credit. He knew where the rotation was going to go. They weren't going to run out at him to shoot a 3. He got it out of his hands quickly, gave his teammate a chance to knock down the 3-pointer.
Matt Garrity out of Notre Dame, their 3rd all-time leading scorer. Ray Allen. 25 for Allen.
Allen, like McGrady, when they put the ball on the floor, they're very smooth and deceiving off the dribble because he keeps turning the corner on a very quick Troy Hudson.
Man of defense from this crowd that has been pumped right from the opening tip. McGrady met by Caffey. And it's a 24-second violation.
And they just lost track of where the 24-second clock was. Yes, Doc Rivers wants him to run it down. That's part of the danger when you try and use time on the clock. Sometimes the defense digs in at that point. You just can't get a good look at the basket.
You mentioned earlier that one of the things that Doc wanted to do, which is so unusual for this Orlando team that against most opposition looks to run up and down the court, get the shots off.
He wants them to be selective. He doesn't want to pass up fast break opportunities, but if they're not there, then he would like to make Milwaukee play defense a little bit longer.
Robinson. Well, Victor Robinson has come on in the second half. He now has 12 points, and it leads to a Magic timeout. 6:20 remaining in the fourth, and the Bucks now lead by 7. Fortress on 4th Street. That's what they call it, Czar, with the Bradley Center. As we take a look at tonight's American Express leaderboard, Tracy McGrady is the high man with 30, but he has cooled off. Irvin Johnson, 12 rebounds. Ray Allen, 7 assists. Allen has 25 points, one shy of his career playoff high. McGrady has not scored the last 11 minutes. Now played by Allen. Goliak. And Hunter ends up with it for the Bucks. Lindsey Hunter for Glenn Robinson.
That ball was deflected on the shot attempt. A good defensive effort that time.
Now Orlando changing its philosophy in that they're trailing, changing the tempo, taking some quick shots.
They still have plenty of time. The key is they get good high percentage shots and the ball in the hands of the right people taking those shots.
Here's Caffey digging. Will it count? Yes, it does. And the foul.
The quickness of Caffey against Michael Goliak. Goliak has a hard time moving his feet against quickness. Jason Caffey takes advantage of it, faces up, puts it on the floor, and then tries to split the rotation by Garrity. The body in there for the contact. Going back to the tempo thing you mentioned, Mark. The Milwaukee Bucks during the regular season average 83 shots a game. They're the second highest scoring team in the NBA at just over 100 points because they have such good shooters and scorers. By changing the tempo a little bit this game, game 1 they had 97 field goal attempts. 97, that's 14 above what they normally had. Right now they have 75 field goal attempts. So a little bit better odds for Orlando.
But at this stretch, they're not hitting those field goal attempts. As a result, they're down by 9, in big trouble with 5 minutes remaining in the fourth. And McGrady has not scored in over 12 minutes. Robinson lost the dribble. Armstrong blocked by Cassell. The Bucks, their first team foul. And Doc Rivers takes a timeout. 4 minutes, 51 seconds remaining in the fourth. Bucks trying to make it 2-0 in this best of 5, and they have the lead. Right from the start with the Orlando Magic trying to pay back the Milwaukee Bucks for the hard hit on Tracy McGrady in game 1. Czar, this has been a very physical contest.
Well, the big men from both teams understand the importance of protecting their turf and not letting people come to the basket and get easy scores. Shots have to be challenged. Sometimes you have to put players on the foul line to make them make 2 free throws rather than give them an uncontested layup. As the series goes on, the crowd gets more into it, the players are into it that much more, and they learn from the previous games.
They're on their feet here at the Bradley Center. Miller for 3. 9 points for Miller. And the Magic are within 6 with just under 4.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. Here's Cassell. Tough angle shot for Sam Cassell, who has 23 points. The Bucks 94, the Magic 86.
Mike Miller gave a little bit too much help to the middle of the floor that time. He couldn't get back in time.
Brady had it slapped away by Robinson, and the Bucks have done a solid defensive job on Tracy McGrady. in the second half.
Now, as the clock winds down and you're 8 points down, it's not panic time yet. You understand that if you make one 3-point basket, all of a sudden it's a 5-point game. It looks much different.
Well, here's Miller, who is a straight shooter, but not able to put two together.
George Carl comes out on the floor a little bit more. He'll have to wear a uniform.
Yes, he is right up near the center court area. Caffey went for the extra pass. And Armstrong pushes it down. McGrady for three. And knocked out of bounds by Garrity. George Carl recently signed a 2-year, $14 million extension that includes a piece of the franchise. He is now the highest paid coach in the history of professional sports. What an ovation he received during the player introductions tonight and also in game one. He said after the introduction in game one, he got emotional. He said it brought tears to his eyes.
This city has really embraced George Carl from when he got here. As you mentioned, there had been a long drought between the playoff appearances for the Milwaukee Bucks, and George came in and kind of has established a solid foundation now. Had to make some changes early on, went through some rough times. Credit to the owner, Senator Cole, here for hanging in there, understanding what was going on. I think bringing Ernie Grunfeld along was a terrific addition. The two of them, there's the senator right there in the stands. And now the two of them working together, Grunfeld along with George Carl, have put this program on solid ground.
Sam Cassell from downtown. Timeout called by Orlando. The Bucks have their biggest lead of the night. They're up by 11. A look at timeouts remaining and the foul rundown. As we remind you, coming up next here on TNT, the Suns and the Kings, game 2 of our doubleheader. The Milwaukee Bucks on the verge of going up 2-zip on the Orlando Magic. Game 3 will be played in Orlando Saturday night. It's the third straight season that George Carl's Bucks have made the playoffs. They were swept by Indiana in the first round and lost last season to the eventual Eastern Conference champion Pacers in a 5th and deciding game. So they're looking now to get by the first round, coming off the solid regular season, number 2 seed in the East behind the Philadelphia 76ers, going 52 and 30. This after the slow start, as you mentioned, there were some rough spots. At the beginning of the season, they won only 3 of their first 12. George was not happy with some of the work habits of his star players.
Yeah, the 3 main guys, he felt some weren't in the best of shape. Others had too many outside commitments as Mike Miller drives for the layup, doing personal appearances, other things that were distracting them from paying attention to basketball. Therefore, they were not a good basketball team at the time. And to his credit, he didn't hold back. He told them how it was. They responded.
Bucks lead 97-88 with 2:20 remaining in the fourth. Armstrong allowed to penetrate.
Almost seemed like a slow motion Darryl Armstrong going to the basket. He is bothered by that stomach and groin problem that he has.
So it's back to a 7-point differential with 2 minutes remaining. Well, Tracy McGrady very quiet after the early explosives. He's missed his last 5 shots. Oh, Jason Caffey on the follow in emphatic fashion.
Cassell keeps his dribble alive so long. He's got 2 and 3 of the Magic players chasing. Somebody's got to be open on the floor for Milwaukee.
Caffey with a solid game. He has 13 points. McGrady forced to give it up. Caffey digging in on McGrady. Here's McGrady. Oh, it counts in the foul. What a recovery by Tracy McGrady. His first points in nearly 16 minutes.
Yeah, Jason Caffey did a pretty good job of moving his feet against him, but McGrady does a better job of finding a way of getting a shot off and potential 3-pointer. Keep the dribble alive. Get everybody chasing you around. And then all of a sudden the team there will sneak free for the feed and the dunk.
Tracy McGrady averaged just under 27 a game during the regular season. 7th in scoring, made the All-Star team for the first time. 2 for 2 at the line. 33 points to match his career playoff high that was set in game 1 here on Sunday. And it's a 6-point lead for the Bucks.
You almost felt it was getting away, didn't you? You looked up and it's right back to a 6-point game with plenty of time remaining and a lot of timeouts and fouls to use. So the Magic are in good shape right now. They could be in better shape.
Relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking. I got carried away.
Cassell and Hudson on the rebound. 1:05 remaining on the fourth. McGrady met by Robinson. Has to give it up. And Garrity is fouled. So the Bucks are over the limit. Matt Garrity, an 87% free throw shooter, although does not go to the line frequently. For the most part, he is a jump shooter. 85 for 98 during the regular season. Now there's a question as to whether that is a 15 foul. The scoreboard now has made the change, so they are over the foul limit. .59 seconds to go in the fourth. If Garrity hits both, Orlando is within 4 points. Milwaukee is led by as many as 11.
If he hits this next shot, will you say that Orlando's not in bad shape?
Well,
relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking, they're in better shape than they were.
Well, there you go.
So the Bucks lead at 99-94 and should be in no hurry to get off the shot. Magic with a foul to give. Robinson with the shot clock at 6. And now the Magic has to hurry.
Not called for a timeout right away. McGrady trying to advance the ball, didn't see it. One of the other teammates has to call. They lose about 4 to 5 seconds off the 24-second clock. End game clock.
Final timeout for Orlando.
That may have been one of those opportunities where you push as hard as you can, see what you have in transition so you don't use that last timeout up.
Well, a look at the big three faring better than they did in game 1. Shooting 42%, totaling 63 points. In game 1, the three guys combined to shoot 17 of 52. So they have picked it up, although Robinson with just 12, but 10 of the 12 in the second half. 25 for Allen, 26 for Cassell.
If they should score and go into their full court press, the guy that they want to try and foul, the worst free throw shooter on the floor right now for Milwaukee, happens to be Caffey, who's a 67% free throw shooter. The rest of the players on the floor, we're talking about all 80 and mid to high 80 free throw shooters from Milwaukee.
G. Brown is checked back in, has not played at all in the second half, but is a three-point shooting threat. McGrady. And here's Miller for three. Way off. Rebounded by Caffey. And the foul is given.
And you saw Caffey get rid of the ball quick. He knew they were going to foul him right away.
Had Miller hit that shot, it would have been a 2-point game. Instead, the Bucks are up by 5, and they're headed to the apparently a non-shooting foul, that the 4th team foul. So the Bucks will put it in play. Caffey had headed to the free throw line, was called back. Well, they wanted to foul Thomas. They couldn't reach him. Beautifully done. Ray Allen with the finisher. Orlando not able to catch any of the Milwaukee players. Here's Grady, rejected by Robinson. McGrady again. So Tracy on the follow with 10 seconds to go. 5-point lead for the Bucks. The foul is given by McGrady. And now Orlando over the limit. So Glenn Robinson will shoot 2. And Ray Allen with a new career playoff high, 27 points.
And besides the points that he scored, Ray Allen also was very instrumental. He has 7 assists in getting open shots, creating shots for his teammates because they put the ball in his hands quite a bit. He beat his defender off the dribble and created. And that last sequence, you saw a veteran, smart basketball team execute well against the press. They moved the ball before Orlando could catch up and foul him. Eventually got a wide open layup by attacking the full court press, scoring at the offensive end of the floor.
Suns and Kings coming up next, second of our doubleheader. An impressive performance here by the Milwaukee Bucks as they will take a 2-0 lead in the best of 5. They're up by 7. McGrady lost it, thought he was fouled. And that will do it as the crowd reacts. The Bucks 103 and the Magic 96. Ray Allen with a career playoff high 27. Sam Cassell had 26 points. Allen also with 10 rebounds and 7 assists. Irvin Johnson tied a playoff high with 13 rebounds, and Tracy McGrady finishes with 35 points. Just spectacular in the first half in one stretch with 20 consecutive for Orlando. But the star of the game for the Bucks is Ray Allen, and he's with Cheryl Miller. Cheryl?
Ray, in the first quarter, it seemed like after they fouled you hard, you picked up the technical off of the flagrant foul, it seemed like you became more focused and you took it to a different level.
Oh, yeah, that was my purpose right now. When I came out here tonight, I wanted to come and focus and play this game right.
It seemed like every time that they got into striking distance, you guys had an answer for them. The big 3 came to the game tonight.
Oh, yeah, we've done this all year. We know that when we play basketball together, we play well. And, you know, it was typical tonight. Big guys stepped up, rebound for us, and we made shots.
All right, Sam Cassell said that game 2 was definitely going to be a war. It lived up to that. What type of effort is it going to take for you guys to go down to Orlando and close these guys out?
I know the people in Florida have been watching this game, so when we come to Orlando, it's going to be a hostile crowd. We're ready for them.
All right, enjoy the win. Thanks a lot, Ray. Let's go back to you, Mark.
All right, thank you, Cheryl. So game 3 is coming up in Orlando on Saturday night. What can the Magic do differently against these Bucks?
But Milwaukee's happy they did what they wanted to do, win the 2 at home. As far as Doc Rivers, I think he's a happier coach tonight than he was after game 1. I think he sees his team growing up in the playoffs. There is hope when they go back home in their building with their crowds to get the 3rd game.
All right, the Bucks over the Magic, 103-96. They lead the best of 5, 2 games to nothing. Stay tuned for more post-game reaction from Milwaukee. For Cheryl Miller and the Czar, Mike Fratello, Marv Albert saying good night from the Bradley Center in Milwaukee. And coming up next, it's the Suns and the Kings in game 2 of our doubleheader.